Well, hello everyone. This is Robin Carter with Robin's Creations. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Flower Mound, Texas. And today I'm here to share with you my second set of alternatives using the Time for Cake Paper Pumpkin Kit. So before we begin, let me thank those of you that have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your subscription. We did reach 3,600, so thank you to all my new subscribers. But always, I appreciate every single one of you from the very beginning of my channel. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and learning as I produce these videos. Before we begin, let me share some Stampin' Up! News. Right now, going on until the end of August, is the Designer Series Paper Special. Select Designer Series Paper is 15% off, so be sure and get those if those are on your to-do list. And when you get those, if you earned any bonus days coupons, don't forget to use yours. So those do expire at the end of August 31st, so don't let those go to waste. So let's switch to hands down and share some more news for you. This is the kit. Hopefully everyone has received theirs. And a reminder that my Paper Pumpkin subscribers will be receiving these sleeves to store their stamp sets in. Now, I love bringing in past Paper Pumpkin kits to show you the value of these stamp sets. They are exclusive to Paper Pumpkin. So that's just one reason why I love Paper Pumpkin. You will also receive, my Paper Pumpkin subscribers, a 1-inch square of the coordinating cardstock for the ink spot. I do write the name of it on the bottom. That way you can store yours upside down and your ink is always on top, much like the full-size pads. So I hope that tip helps others out. These sleeves are also part of my favorite things, and I'll explain my favorite things as we go through the video. Also going on right now is the September, I keep wanting to say August, but it's the September Paper Pumpkin Kit. You have until September 10th to either renew your subscription or if you're new, join Paper Pumpkin. It's a great creativity jumpstart for me. I love how it challenges me to use different colors and combinations and come up with alternatives that I do in these videos. Also, the add-on dies are really great for this quarter of kits. I believe all of them are still out. There was a first quarter for January through March, and then April through June, and then these. And soon we'll probably get a sneak peek of the last quarter of dies for the last quarter of Paper Pumpkin Kit. So be sure and subscribe. I do have a link in the video description box of this video as well as my other videos of if you do not have a demonstrator, how you can sign up through Paper Pumpkin through myself. All right, and then I haven't shared yet, but starting soon, I believe it's September 3rd or 4th, the new, I can't open this up for you guys, sorry. The new mini catalog will go live for customers. I did place a small pre-order finally just today, and I forgot to use my bonus days coupon, so I'll have to use those before the month's up. Anyway, I hope to be sharing those with you soon. There is a fabulous embossing folder. If you've watched my channel, you know I love embossing folders. You get a lot of bang for your buck with those. It adds such detail, and I'm looking forward to getting that in. So let me set this behind me, and let's get started with the alternative. So for this alternative, my first one, I wanted to use this balloon card front piece. So you'll need to get that out. You will also need a thick white card base, and I'm getting these out of my other favorite things, these little envelopes. So my favorite things are things that Stampin' Up! Does not sell that I find very helpful in organizing all my supplies and putting my card pieces with this. This is a pre-embossed piece with the dotted circles 3D. Now, wouldn't you know that I decided to use this and it's currently unavailable. That seems to happen to me every time I pick a product to use, but they will be getting them back. They're not discontinued. They're just currently out of stock, so they make all out of stock products. unavailable. So keep that on your list and keep a lookout for when that comes back out. Anyway, back to my favorite things. I kind of jumped around there. I am an Amazon affiliate, and as an Amazon affiliate, I get a few pennies back at no cost to you when you use the links to purchase any of my favorite things. So thank you to those that have used it, and if you plan to use them in the future, thank you so much for always going to my link first. All right, that's the business. Okay, so I decided rather than put this on the petal pink piece that I liked it just plain, and that way it's a little more gender neutral, minus the gold balloons. So I wanted to give this a little more of a pop by adding some Night of Navy cardstock layer behind this. Now this layer is 4.75 by 3.5. That's just going to be as a matte layer for this balloon piece. Okay, I do have my pre-embossed piece of card front at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 that I'm going to put on the top of that, but not yet. And then we're going to pretty much do it like the kit. So you'll need to get each of your balloons out for this piece. I have pre-stamped the banner. So this one's going to go pretty quick, but let me keep that one over there. I'll show you a few things that I'm going to do. Now, some of you have found my Etsy shop. Thank you for your purchases through my Etsy shop. I do have the cut file for all of the things pretty much on this Stamparatus. This is my stamp positioning tool, and it's no longer available. The one currently on the market is called the Misty, and I do have a link to that in my favorite things as well. So we need to get some blank balloons out. Now the directions say to stamp on this directly, and you can do that. I already have mine set up here, so I'm gonna stamp my own and put them as a separate layer. I did cut a whole bunch of balloons yesterday just so I could have them ready to go. I think I even have some pre-stamped, so that'll help give us a jump start. So what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much go by what they say. I have one of those. I need 2 of those. We'll just go ahead and stamp some rather than me trying to dig through this piece. And you can see after you cut yours. Now I do use my scan and cut file. I did put out an SVG file for those of you Cricut fans. So just when you go to my shop, be sure and make sure you're getting the correct one. Now you can pull up SVG in the scan and cut, but they don't come up true to size. I'm not sure why. So that's why I put both files out there. I do a scan and cut file and then an SVG file so that they should come up correct to size. So let's see. I think I need all Night of Navy ones. And let's hope one good press gets them solid. The good news is after you use these photopolymer stamp sets, they tend to stamp better and better over time. That's a great one. And I think we need a couple more, one more big one. Okay, and wouldn't you know, I put my, what's that called? The chamois, my Simply chamois in the sink to get wet, and it's still getting wet. I forgot to bring it over. So I'm just going to use some water that I keep in a squirt bottle here handy on my desk and a paper towel to clean these off. As you can see, I do that a lot. So it's always good to give them a good clean afterwards. Now, as you can see, the Night of Navy does turn them a shade of pink, and that does not damage your stamps. It just shows you loved them and used them. So let me put this away. Actually, did I get all my balloons off? Here they are. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere this layer to my Night of Navy piece. And this is one of my favorite things, the mini glue bottle that I put my multi-purpose liquid glue in. All right, and then I love it because it lets me gives me some wiggle room to get that centered on there. And then I just give it a little rub to help spread the glue out underneath there. All right, and so we're going to put this on this layer eventually. And then we have our balloons here. So I've already, to help with time, put some dimensionals on here. You don't need to see me place dimensionals. I do usually cut my large ones in half if you're new to my channel. I think that one just goes in the center somewhere. And this one on the side. And this one on the side here. And I love that we have these balloons that we can use over and over again. I'm going to do that one like under that one. Okay, and I'm pretty much going to put these where they suggest that you put these balloons. So they put one there. They put another large, oh, no, they didn't put that one there. They put a little one there. They put they put this large one over here. It really doesn't matter, I don't think. Kind of whatever you like. You could even add some different colors if you wanted to. But I'm going to stick with 9 and Navy in case this is your first kit and the ink is all you have right now. Okay, so love that. You know what? I may add some additional string to these balloons. Do you think that would be cute? Let's see how that looks. If I don't like it, I always have more. So we can add some string coming from some of these balloons. And I don't even think it has to be all of them. So I think that looks pretty cute there. And of course, let's do one from the large one. That was just a black pin that I had. So I think that adds a little bit to it, like the balloons are flying in the air. Okay, and then I want to attach this to this. However, I wanted to add a little more to it. So I wanted to add some ribbon. Now I have some old retired Night of Navy ribbon that I'm going to use, but I looked to see what was current, and current is this Night of Navy with gold fleck in it. Does that show? So that would look cute. Also, you can use your blends markers if you have any of those and turn any white ribbon into Night of Navy using a Night of Navy blend color. I've also seen people soak it in some re-inker. So those are options for you. And final option is to cut a strip of Night of Navy cardstock. This looks like to be about 5/8 inches wide this way, and you can just put a strip of Night of Navy cardstock there as well. So I'm just going to cut this off. Now, if you want to, you could be real stingy with your ribbon. I say stingy, you could, the ribbon, and you could just put a little piece here and leave off the center. But for this video, I'm just going to use the whole piece, and I'm going to center it best as possible. So let's, the dots really help get it in the center here, so long as my embossing folder, I centered it when I did it there. All right, so let's use some tear and tape to hold this down. You can use a very strong double-sided adhesive. I just have this tear and tape here. I should have got off tube there. I found the pretty easily. So here's where you want to make sure you've got it all pulled and around and tear that down. Now, since we're going to adhere this straight on the thick white card base, I am going to go ahead and take the backing off. You don't have to, especially if you want to make sure you have wiggle room, but I'm going to tear it off to have a little more adhesive. Now, with this deep embossing folder, sometimes I find the fine tip glue may not be enough glue because it could go in the raised area and not adhere to your cardstock. So sometimes I do like to get out my bottle itself and add a little more to make sure it adheres well. Okay, let's find my thick white card base. Feel to see if there's one side that's a hair. These are pretty even, but I'm thinking this side is the front. Anyway, if there's one side that's a little hair bigger, you want that to be the front. That way it's easy to open. All right, I am going to give that a second. And then we can adhere this down. Now, since these balloons are raised on dimensionals, I'm not going to raise this piece, although just being on the embossing folder raises it up just a tad. But I think that's still plenty of dimension with this card. All right, so let's try to get this in the center. Close enough. And then, like I said, I pre-stamped the banner, and it does recommend you just put those on with some glue dots. I have an old sheet here that I'm still trying to use up. So I just use whatever I have available. I kind of just stick them in a little bucket and use them up as they come. Okay, and let's put this right here. And then one last thing, they did add the ribbon as a little bow. So I like to do teeny tiny bows and less string. So I hope this goes well. I just make it on my own here. It's probably not enough ribbon there. This is always easier to do off camera than on camera. So I like I said, I make little bitty bows. I don't trim off the ribbon first. I tend that wastes too much. And then I get them equal length in the bows at least. And then I use my scissors to cut that off. And I'm going to use a glue dot to adhere that down. This one might be a little too big, but I can roll it up. Oop, I just threw it off the back of my desk. So I hope I have another pack for the next card. All right, so I can roll that up so it doesn't stick to anything else. So there is my finished first one. Here is one I made ahead of time so I can make sure not to mess up for you guys. So that is my first alternative with that card. Now, let me put this in one of my envelopes so I don't get ink all over them. And let's get on to our second set. So, you know, they put that on the petal pink layer. So I decided to use that to make additional cards. So again, I'm going to stick with the same embossing folder. One that I have done, it has a different one. I'll just show you. Now, one product that I was going to bring in is the Everyday Details dies. So these are kind of fun, and I thought they were especially fun for birthday cards. And this is how I like to store mine. When they first come in, I go slap it down in my printer copy machine and make a copy of the dies. That way, if one goes missing, I know which one I'm looking for. And rather than have to search for this little bitty number of how many dies are on my set, I write that down. Now, this one is a total of 11. I just kind of said there's 6 on this one, 5 on this one. Now, when you use this one, it cuts the inside piece. Okay, it would also do dots here. So I wanted that as a frame to go around my white piece. So something I did, just so I didn't have to measure it every time I went to this set, was I figured out what would be a good frame size, and I wrote that on this little flag tab, and I'm going to store that with my die so that every time I go to cut a frame for that, I'm not having to re-measure. So I hope you like that tip. Put these back in. And the magnets are also part of my favorite things. So they're 30 mil, so they're real strong. And I like them. I don't even get the adhesive ones. I get the non-adhesive Just pay attention to if you order those, one side is shinier than the other, and the shiny side is the side you should put your dies on. You can test it. If you put your die on and it comes off too easy, that's the wrong side. All right, so I have pre-die cut a couple of these in case I mess up, and I've done the frame. Now I do recommend, you can see this one's just cut. This one I cut with some, not tear and tape, adhesive sheets. Okay, that word left me there for a minute. So it'd be easier to put down. So that's in Night of Navy. And then I'm going to bring in an old stamp, paper pumpkin stamp set. So again, I did find a little cake. It's way back, not that far back, but 2020 of February. There's this cute little cake piece. Now, I loved the set. I love the flower. It's pretty to cut out. And they also have here some fill-in for the cake. I sometimes find it's just easier to color that in than line it up. So we're going to use that, and we're going to use the stamp set in our kit this month. But look around your stash. You may have some cakes if you don't have that paper pumpkin. So you can see I have it right here, and we're going to stamp that on the bottom. Now I didn't do it all the way because it doesn't stamp really well there, so I need to make sure I've lined it up properly first. I think it's about the half-quarter mark, a little more. Too much. Okay, I should have made a mental note or put some tape there. Okay, that looks good. We're going to stamp that in Memento because I'm going to color mine with Blends markers. Now, they do recommend if you're going to use watercolor pencils or your markers that you do it in a StazOn. I do have a little luck sometimes if I only have Memento to stamp Memento, let it dry overnight, and then it won't bleed as much. That's just, it's not guaranteed, but I do find sometimes that helps. Okay, so that is our little cake. Cute. I love when I find something that I can use from a previous paper pumpkin kit. I've lost my paper towel. Reach under my drink here. Here it is. Okay, so if you know, I did do a cut file for this It's Time for Cake, but you can see it doesn't fit on this layer. So I'm going to do a masking technique to get some of the words. So I want to do for cake. So kind of line that up where you want it. I'm pretty sure. And then you can use your grid lines if you have the grid sheet. For cake. That's still a little for cake. That looks pretty center. If you really were concerned about it being center, you could just make it off center on purpose. So you can put tape. You can be real careful inking, but I'm going to use tape just so I make sure and mask it off well. And let's get my spot. The spot helps. I can pretty much get it without doing the tape. Let me get this more in the center. Okay. So as you can see, I got some on the tape, so it's a good thing I did that. Now before you stamp, you remove your tape and you stamp for cake. I'm going to have ink all over my finger. Okay, that went well. And then I'm going to do It's Time, but always clean this off first before you go to stamp, or you'll get some residual ink on the other side, which I have done often. Forget to clean that. Okay, so now we need to move it over and get an idea of where we need to stamp It's Time. All right, that looks pretty good. And where's my tape? I'm going to tape off the 4. and get my ink spot again for It's Time. Remove the tape, especially if you got any ink on it, and then It's Time. And let's hope, oh, that's really good. Sometimes it's not as good as others. So that's a way you can make this sentiment shorter. I do love the little cut file I made for it, and I've used that on other cards, but this I just wanted to stamp on there. If you messed it up, you could cut one of these, stamp it, and then cut it in half to make your It's Time. Okay, I like to do that first before I do any coloring. That way, if I mess it up, I haven't wasted time coloring my cake. So we can put this away, and we have our cake. Now, I have a Petal Pink Blends marker. I also have a Blends pen, and I also have markers. But since I use Memento and I just stamped that, I'm going to use my Blends marker to color the cake. This is the dark Petal Pink, and I'm not going to worry about shading on this. So I'm just coloring it directly with the dark. Now, it does help when you get to these smaller areas to switch to the bullet tip. Okay, that's going to be the frosting. And my navy, I don't have my navy out, but I'm just going to use the marker since it's over here. It's a little piece, so I don't have to worry about blending on that, and it's so dark. And then I have a Daffodil Delight marker. I'm just going to dab in the candle, hopefully not get any bleeding. And then for a more realistic cake, I'm going to use Early Espresso. Now, I did look because I thought, why don't I have an Early Espresso blend? And that would be because they don't make one. So the closest thing would be the skin toned ones. Okay, or I guess you could use pecan pie. So I decided to make this chocolate cake. You could leave it plain, and I guess it'd be white cake. I don't think yellow cake would look good with the petal pink, so. But just to give this some more color, I'm coloring that in with the Early Espresso marker. Okay, so there is our cake. All right, what else do I need out? I didn't get out my thick white card base, and I did do an pre-embossed piece of this dotted circle. So this one is the front. However, I want to use a piece of that petal pink. So here is the piece that I already have, I think, pre-cut all the way. Maybe, let me just trim it to 4 inches over here real quick. No, 5 1/4, sorry. Okay, it is already 5 1/4. All right, so this comes from the solid piece. Where is my whole kit? So this is the larger envelope. That's my favorite things that I store all my goodies in rather than the box. So what I did is I just cut off. So you have your score line here. You can cut it there and you'll have 4 1/4. I divide that by 3 and you get about 1 3/8. And then you can do that twice, and then whatever you're left with is a good size piece. So that's what I'm going to put here on my embossed layer, and I did make it 1/4 inch smaller. So this is 4 1/8 this way by 5 3/8. So I made this layer 5 1/4. So let's get the real glue so that it sticks well. It's a nice thick card-based piece, so I don't have to worry about it bleeding through, much like the envelopes are thin. So you need to be sparing on your glue when you use those. All right, so there's that. And once again, I'm going to bring in this ribbon just to give it a little more texture and look. Again, you can use a piece of Night of Navy cardstock to fill that in if you don't have ribbon, or color some white ribbon with your blends. All right, and then I'm going to use my tear and tape again to put that in place. I'm hoping that's about where it'll go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tear this off. And I'm going to let it overlap just a little bit. And then I'm going to tuck it under. And luckily there was the adhesive. So I'm going to tear off this side. Get it as straight as possible. I'm going to just hover over my grid sheet and see if that looks about right. Sometimes eyeing is better than actually measuring. So there is our layer to go on our thick white card base. So let's put that on there. By the way, if you missed my first alternative, it's the one before this one. There's should be an easy link at the end of this video of how you can watch that video as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel. By the way, if you're looking for my Etsy shop, it's in the video description box of this video. However, if you go to my title page where it shows my picture and about the channel, there's a links button and you can click more, and then there's links to my blog, my Etsy shop, as well as the online store, 24 hours for shopping for Stampin' Up! Products. All right, so I'm going to use the one that I did adhesive sheet, and that way it'll stay down. Now, because of the dots, I decided this needed to go flat. Otherwise, it'd be very hard to put dimensionals around the dots. So, like I said, it's just going to frame this piece. So, I want to set everything down to eye it where it should go. And then I'm hoping, you know what, I could use my T ruler. Sorry, I had to reach close for that. And let's see, what about, let's say here. So eye about where you want it. Then you can take this piece away, use your T ruler so that it's square and your finger sticks to it. Maybe down a little bit. Then you can press that adhesive sheet down. Okay, I like that. I know it looks funky by itself. And then I'm going to do time for cake. But you know me, I want to put those on dimensionals. So let's add a few dimensionals to give it some more interest. Raised up. And let's just do one in the center-ish. Better put that over there. Get all the backings. Now, that would be fine, but I wanted to do a little more, right? So I wanted more balloons because we have that stamp set, and if you've purchased the cut file, we want to put that to good use. So also in my cut file is the bigger balloons that we don't have a stamp for, but we're going to do something with that. Here's a little balloon and a big balloon, or a mid-sized balloon. So 3 is a good odd number to use. You can add as many as you want, but I like the 2. Now I need to get out my glass mat. It's going to be reflective, but it's going to help me with blending on this. So let me grab, where did I put it down? It's always on my desk, so I always craft with it, but not when I do the videos. I just know it's very reflective, and it might give you a headache watching my videos. So we're going to bring it in for the balloons because I cut it in white. I got my tear and tape over here. All right, and I do want my petal pink ink, which I have a spot here. And the glass mat's great because you can make a little puddle of ink like right there. Whoops, my picture is there. Okay, and then you can get a blending brush. Okay, I have one kind of for pink. And I'm going to blend this bigger balloon with some petal pink just to give it some color. Okay. And you know what? That would be fine. But again, I went searching through my paper pumpkin stamp sets and I came across, let me see if I can find the sleeve for it. This one's more recent, the Beyond the Horizon. And I thought this pattern would be pretty fun for the balloons. So that's what we're going to use to color that balloon. Okay, so I have that on a clear block. I am going to use my full-size Petal Pink ink pad, which I have right here. And I hope I don't have to get my hair covering this. But this is almost as wide as the balloon. So let's see how I do. I did pretty good. Now you can see I missed a little bit of the side. So I'm just going to ink that up and add some more. So there you go. And the great thing about the glass mat is you can stamp right on that and then you can just wipe off the ink. I do usually squirt it with some water. Okay, and then just wipe it right off and I can clear my stamp. So there we made a petal pink. Now, when I first did this, I was like, wow, that looks awfully orange. As it dries, it does better. So you can see in my final one. So let me get rid of the glass mat. I'm getting stuff all over again. I have to remember that I have some in the corner of that. Okay, so there's that balloon. We need our stamp positioning tool back out so I can stamp some more balloons. Since there's not as much petal pink, I'm going to make this large one or mid-size one petal pink as well with my spot that I just had, or there it is. I need to make sure that's clean because I don't want to mix Night and Navy in my petal pink ink spot. Okay, it was clean. Sometimes I have to do this one twice. Maybe my ink spot needs a little more re-inker. Yep. So by the way, that's also some things you could use with your Dollar Days coupons is get ink refills for your ink spots or your full-size pads. That's one reason I love the Stampin' Up! Products is you don't have to buy a whole new pad. You can just buy the re-inkers that are going to last you a very, very long time. Okay, and then let's do a Night of Navy one for the baby one. I'm barely on the screen, aren't I? Okay, my Night of Navy spot. I need to put all my inks in the same spot. Okay, that one turned out well. So that's all our balloons. 3 balloons is good. Okay, so here are our balloons. So I'm going to put that one like here. This one. that not stamped one. Here and here. But I want to add some ribbon or twine. Now you could use the one that came in our kit. I just have some twine left over from previous kits that I'm going to use because there's really no rose gold in this card color. Okay, I actually have some white twine, so that's what I'm going to use on these balloons. And I know here's another thing of glue dots. So I'm going to put a glue dot on the back of this with maybe my take your pick tool. Here it is. Whoops. Flying glue dots. Okay, and if you can, get it all the way down on this closing of the balloon, and you may have to fold it in when we take off the glue dots, and that's okay. You don't want your ribbon or your twine to go on the side of the balloon. So see, that one hung off a little bit, and I'm just turning it in. That way I can just put the twine right there, and I'm going to cut it off. I don't know, about there. Okay, and then we're going to do these others the same way. So if I didn't explain that well, let me see if I have smaller glue dots. I know I do somewhere, because these are going to require a smaller glue dot. Here we go. Put those in there. Okay, on the back of my balloon. This one might have been okay with a bigger one, but I didn't want to fold it over so much. Okay, then just put that on the back. And cut it off somewhere. And one more for the little balloon. Flying glue dots again. Put that on there. Whoops. Don't pull so tight. And there we go. So now we can put these on. Now this one's going to hang off a little bit. So I want to put a dimensional on this side so that it supports the side from collapsing down. Got pieces of dimensionals, it's fine. I used the whole thing. And then a little multi-purpose glue for there. All right, then we want to do this one. I think he'll be fine there. And then the little bitty one overlapping just to give it a little bit of glue. Now you could tie those together. I kind of like the loose look. So this is my second alternative for you today, using some of the pink piece right there. Now, as you can see, I used just a small piece. If you don't have embossing folders, you could use a whole quarter piece or a half of that card base if you wanted to. Let me show you one more thing, and I'm not going to actually, let me show you the one I did with a different embossing folder. So this is the, oh gosh, it lost me. It has like a, I don't know what that pattern is, but that just shows you what it looks like with a different embossing folder. I will include the name of that. It's a set of 2 that are smaller. I'll include that in my blog post when I do it. So if you're interested in that embossing folder, it will be in my supply list of that one. So this is my second set of alternatives. What do you think about that? All right, so like I said, I'm going to show you one more using a different set of products. I already had some balloons pre-done there, but it's good to show you how to use my cut file pieces as well. So no harm done. And by the way, these are the 3x5, and I love those to store like all these little cut pieces and so forth. So I have a slew of all different sizes for different purposes. All right, let me show you this other one that I came up with. So I have already pre-done this stuff. I'm just going to make one for you. And that card base is yucky. I don't know what happened to it. So let's just grab another one. Again, I store pre-cut card bases and these large ones. So I always have those on my desk. So let's fold that. They're pre-scored and cut. And then I just use my bone folder to burnish it so it lays flatter. Okay, the same sort of thing. I have this dotted circle embossing folder. It goes really good with the birthday theme. Okay, and I've used another third of a piece that's cut to 5 1/4. So I know we can adhere this down onto this. If I can get up the piece again, there we go. Using the Tombow multi-purpose glue. Now I forgot to tell you, there was a piece that I said to save from the first set of alternatives that I said I'd probably use in my second. I'm actually going to use that on my third because I want to use that with another piece that I still have to share, the one with the cake on it. So I do have an idea for that. All right, now this, I just got this set in recently and I love it. It is called the Wildflower Designs, and it has this very pretty, so this one here cuts inside and the outside of that. Now this cuts out that as well as the inside. Now the inside I did again with some white. Now you can see here I did some correction tape because I messed that one up, but we're going to make one where I hopefully don't mess up. All right, and this is a sample of some of my cut file numbers that I have out in SVG or for your scan and cut. So here's some more numbers because I actually found out I need a 30 for my, that one's got a little nib on it, for my nephew-in-law, I guess you would call him, or just nephew. Okay, he's going to turn 30. Got sticky fingers. That's backwards. Okay. All right, so I need that little piece. Like I said, this is the inside of this that I then went through and cut with white. Now, I wasn't liking the way it looked with our happy birthday that was in our kit, so I found another one in a paper pumpkin kit. Okay, this one is from a more recent Good Things Come in small packages, and as you can see, there's a happy and a birthday. And I like that they are different stamps. Okay, so I have one on one side of the block and one on the other. All right, but first I want to put my numbers about where I want them because I want to do happy 30th birthday. So let me get my Stampin' Pierce mat because it's hard to see white on white. Plus this will give me the cushion I need for my photopolymer stamps. Okay, so let's do the happy in Night of Navy. Now I'm going to risk it all and just go for it here with no positioning tool. So ink it well, but not too well or it'll be all globby. All right, give that a second to absorb. That's good. And then my birthday. The R didn't look really inked. Birthday. Okay, and I'll clean that later. Okay, because we're running out of time, and then I need my the stamp for it. Okay, I need my navy back and my the. I love this bonus stamp set. It's so nice that they gave us that. Now, obviously, if you don't have the cut file or a cut file machine, you can just stamp your whatever birthday quantity you want on there. Now, last time I had problems with the glue oozing, so I need to use glue dots on these. I'm just going to do one each. I'll go back in and add more because I'm getting close to an hour, or I'll just even set that on there and you can get the idea. Well, that's not going to work, is it? 30th birthday. I think that's pretty straight enough for now. Okay, then I was going to take that same layering that I did before, put this Night of Navy here, and then put these. Now, if you want to put those on dimensionals with each other, I suggest, oh, I forgot my ribbon. Ribbon to help separate that. Do this real quick. So you guys like this alternative? So we can make lots of these because if we don't use the petal pink for anything else, I just thought I'd show you a couple different options. Obviously, there's even, you know, retired stuff in your stash that would probably layer well, like the deckled rectangles. That's not retired, but it might be in your stash. My beloved stitched rectangles that retired, as well as my scallop contour dies that retired. I was very sad about that one. Still mourning that those aren't current. Okay, so on our card base this goes. That's the wrong side, but that's what I get for trying to rush. All right, it seems like I have another piece of white in here somewhere. Okay, so this is the inside of this die. So I cut it in white just so I could have a complete layer. So these are going to be, I should have done this with adhesive sheet, but I did not. So I'm going to put this one straight down. And hopefully I didn't get glue all over. Again, this is the Wildflower Designs bundle. I may not have got enough adhesive. I should have used glue dots. All right, so we're just going to work along with this. All right, I'm going to adhere that in there with that. And then this piece, if you want it on dimensionals and you want them together, this is what I recommend that you put them. Let me get out my mat so you can see better. I recommend you put that upside down with your piece in there. And then you can put your dimensionals right on the edges of that whole thing. So let me grab my stash here. I'm going to use a whole one actually because I want that to overlap both. Let's start at the top. And our sides. Okay, let's hope that's enough. That way that holds those two pieces together. And it puts them both on dimensionals. Okay, I know I have to glue this down later, but I wanted to kind of finish so you can see that that's a nice look as well. I like that there is pretty much guy or girl, even though there's a little bit of peach. I'm going to call it peach versus pink so I can send it to my, my nephew. So there is another option for you, and obviously you could add balloons. Here I have one done in Night of Navy, much like we did the other card. So thanks for joining me today, everyone. Let me switch back to me. I'll remember this time. Oh, that's not me. There I am. So thanks for joining me, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed these alternatives. Like I said, I will have another video coming out using the other card base I haven't used. But, show your creativity and use those little strips of petal pink and stuff you may have. I did forget to share, there was another paper pumpkin set called, this one's from even further back. Does that show? Poppin' Birthday, and it has some fun little birthday things as well as a candle, and this would be cute on the balloon, this confetti look. So like I said, look through your stuff. You've spent good money on your products, so put them to good use and do your own creativity coming up with your designs. So before I close, let me remind you that the best compliment you can give me is a thumbs up to this video. Like it, I guess that is the thumbs up. Share it with your other paper crafting friends. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget about my cut files out there. And if you have any questions about that, you can leave me a comment here or a comment on Etsy. I do try to get back to everyone as soon as possible. And if you ever have trouble with a cut file, I've had good success with most people, but some people are like, hey, I didn't get it. I can email it directly to you after you purchase it if you're having trouble downloading it. So thanks again for watching, everyone. So until my next video, have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.